So the glorious few weeks. Oh, right. Yeah, I was just about to ask. So, like, has it made world news at all that the U.S. has like the possibility of going to daylight savings always on? Because that's a thing, I guess. I'm not really. I'm not sure how, like, supposedly it has bipartisan support, but that's unheard of. I don't believe that for a moment. I would say it would be nice, but I've spent a decent chunk of my adult life having a nighttime job, and thus I can't really say anything about, like, waking up, you know, and it being light or dark. Oh, it's apparently because the Senate forgot to care about it and didn't show up to object. Is that how it works? I'm honestly not sure. So we left off, I had a short stream on Tuesday, and was, I know what clip that is. I'm the only person to have received this medal in particular. Oh man, I might go watch the last little bit of that, because that case was, honestly, I think that was the only case that I really enjoyed very much out of that game. There was a lot of silliness in it too. The whole ropeway thing, the whole, oh, of course, he had crossbow bolts in a planter because he planned 17 years ago to attach them to a rope and fire it across to the other side of the building in case he needed to, like, send a statue, whatever the deal is. Oh, and there's a fan translation for the sequel. Well, I guess, like, if I'm playing this, Edgeworth 2 will be the only Phoenix Wright game that I've never played, so yeah, maybe I should. Alright, so that's at least a possibility. So we left off, I had a short stream, and I did not get very far in the first case because I got held up big time on a question. I'm not sure if I've ever had a Phoenix Wright question that had me so, like, where I just game overed over and over again. I'm sure if I did, you guys will remind me, but I feel like it doesn't often happen in Phoenix Wright, and for it to happen in case 1 is nonsense. And it turns out that it was because we were being asked, one of the statements was, so there was no reason for her to pull out the knife, and we were supposed to present a newspaper article saying that a poison exists. And that would refute their statement, because if a poison exists, then maybe she was poisoned. And if she was poisoned, then maybe the poison was on the knife. And if the poison was on the knife, then maybe pulling out the knife would cause her to be unpoisoned? Ridiculous. I don't understand. I'm curious to know if this was written by the same team that wrote the other one, because so far, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the first half, Adventure, is, like I had said at the conclusion, the best Phoenix Wright game, as far as I'm concerned. And now we've just been shown a photograph of what? Somebody took a picture through a hole in the changing room, which, sus, you know, don't do that. Don't poke a hole in the changing room wall. Japan, looking at you. And what are we going to object to here? Like, I don't see any new information in here. I don't know. We'll find out. Looking at you, Japan, but not through a small hole. It's such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh. This is a courtroom? That is an absurd thing to say. What about the... record of custody? I don't remember if that's what it's called, but that's what you're supposed to establish. Anything you introduce into court is supposed to have... custodian? Whatever it is. You're supposed to be able to say, like, the whole time that this has existed, there has been someone who has been responsible for it, so that you know that there was no, like, manipulation or switcheroo or what have you. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death and also her nudity. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Arg! Chain of custody. Why couldn't I think of that? I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph. At once! Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of this print is unknown. Am I doing the right voice? I don't think I'm doing the right voice. I'm doing a Shuichi voice. He was more of a Hifumi. Goodness. Are we to understand, then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, just look at the murk all over it, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor. What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. For a silly reason. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but... the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings. Indeed. Without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. The scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. What? Why? Oh no. So, Sato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. Faded isn't here to count things. We need to count. Even though we don't have the count, we still need to count. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Ouchi in a court of law. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. Is their name on the back? It would be dumb. Oh, can't flip it over. Very well. I concede. Just guilty. Well, counsel? Your Excellency, the Baningu. The burning question is who took that photograph, and the truth is... I don't know, I guess I have the answer. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. Oh, that makes it easy. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. Well, no, you can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. Is it going to be the pen? It's like whoever this pen really belongs to. They must have taken the picture. Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the Mr. Tower? I will tell you if I can have my health back, please.
Take that!
The piece of evidence in question is this. It wasn't that. I'm afraid, counsel, that when presenting evidence, you must learn to temper those wide, nervous eyes. I'm obliged to penalize you for the lack of focus in both your eyes and your answer. And then I died. Beep a doop beep boop doo. Not my fault. Why isn't it the pen though? The pen has initials on it, and it's not her pen. So it must be someone else that has the same initials as her. It's really not the pen. Okay. Since the only other thing we have is there like a discrepancy? Oh wait, is she even holding the pen in the other? We can't see. A pen and a wine glass. We can't see. This picture does absolutely nothing. Whoops, not like that. I do not know. I do not know. I don't follow the logic of this case at all. I'm going to present this.
Take that!
Take it. Blah. Okay, so if it's... Would you care to squeeze your head in your hands again, counsel, to punish yourself for presenting such utterly irrelevant elephants? I'm sorry for presenting the elephants. I'll squeeze my head as many times as it takes to win this trial. I presented the autopsy report, or the post-mortem report. So I've tried the pen and the report. Is it this? Is it because there's no... Hang on. Whoops. No, not you. I don't see a hole in the wall. Well, maybe it's further up. Does the other photo show anything about where the photo was taken? It looks like it's taken from, like, outside of the... Oh, what is this? There's a crack on the lens. Is it going to be like, oh, it's a miniature spy camera that's inside the carafe? Or is it inside of this bottle? I don't know. I present this. What happens? It's not this. So the only things left are this article or that article. Oh! Well, yeah. There's a crack in the lens of the camera, and it's the same crack... Okay. Alright, that's... I guess that's clever. When we had this, I was like, what in the world are we ever going to use this article for?
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England returnees tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes, indeed. That had already caught my eye, as it happens. What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of a tree or the like. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph... Good gracious! Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph, too. Well, that tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council. What's quite remarkable about it is the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of stereoscopic vision. It's because the camera is a stand. No. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes. We can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. Objection! I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ouchie, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Huh? That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. The author isn't necessarily the person who took the photograph, just saying. Wog! What's Menimo? Oh wait, is it gonna be the photographer who's following him around? Also, what did he say? Menimo? Menimo? I see why you were called a raucous England returnee. What are you yelling about? You've already testified. It's Menimo, I told you. Menimo! Me. Ni. Me. Mo. Moo. Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say Menimo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Menimo. Raiten Menimo. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Ah, now that he mentions it. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. Could that same reporter be? He had an armband. Camera to the left of him, notebook to the right. Oh, alright. There was a pretty good chance they were doing exactly that reference. There I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Menimo. So you're saying that this picture was taken by Menimo? Yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire. Officer, find the newspaper reporter at once. Bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. One more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. We'll solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood? Meh. Menimo. Why are you saying it? Is that just a thing that we exclaim now, like Papa Pichu? Oops. So that one that I couldn't get at least did make some sense. And if I had known that that was the end of the final question of a chapter, then I would have suspected the newspaper article more highly, because we hadn't used it yet. And you gotta use everything. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. There's that too. Like, you could have told me anything before we started defending you for your life? Ray. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was just scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? You said that you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence, that you'd stand by me to the last. I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato! I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh. What? Why? Even though in my heart I knew you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato. I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. Dip me in scalding oil. Draw and quarter me. Step on me, please. As such, I've failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. I think this lesson has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is not a smart thing to do. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray, me, Fa, so... Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know, you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Whatever do you mean? And then, a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time? That's right, just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. A great mystery indeed. I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be all right. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you... I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you've said you saw is true. God! Difficult sentence. Spoken like a true English speaker. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes. I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now, despite the fact that we said it's unidentifiable. It says so in the newspaper. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory-synthesized blend of alkaloids. That wouldn't kill you. It's just alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters. Perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Chemical reagent has been entered into the court record. I drink it. Solution for a new poison. It's been created in strict secrecy and exists only in my father's laboratory. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. It's this newspaper article, Exclusive Deadly Poison Stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing. Can't you use a more disparaging term for her? Something on the level of Nipponese? we need a lot of racism in the opposite direction to balance it out. It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory that so-called English lady swanned in and without any compunction said to Professor Mikoto, "Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work on that substance there." It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison. Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too. This Menimemo-san. By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no. I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed. He shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. Oh? A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid and illegal photograph. And then presumably he posted it. Oh, right, this wasn't in the paper. He posted it anonymously to the police. Why, exactly? Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel, we've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo? Yes! Ray has put her faith in me now and told me everything, so I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. She's told me everything. Asterisk. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Mambami. Prosecutor Auchi, you summoned the new witness. Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh? What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Giselle Brett's life. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter. Certainly couldn't wait till tomorrow. I mean, it's a murder trial. We get chop chop. Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the reagent delivered to police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. Isn't that thing on his armband the very crest of Codopia that we were talking about? I think it is. I'm sure it is. And, counsel, what were the results? Totally is. This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade. What? You sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the reagent, the test is extremely simple. A time child could do it. They couldn't have made a mistake. The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. Ugh. Now the prosecution is ready to call the new witness. The newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well. Officer, bring in the witness. Bang. No trace of poison on the knife, but if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Through the pen. She drew herself a little mustache. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Right hand mini memo of the Show You News, what people like to call a journo. Nobody likes to call you that, especially not people. What's a giorno, Father? Do you know? It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those screws. The freaking thing is right on your arm. Come on. They went from having a really difficult case to this. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they'll in print the next morning. Don't do that. It hurts your nipples. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Oh, so, it was you who took this photograph, was it? Well, well. What have we here? I'm sorry? Brace yourselves, people! Many Momo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at 72-point and a 5-leg format for the morning edition. Huh? Right then, let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? I'll ask the questions here, buddy. I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryutaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. Also possible. By the way, my name is Taketsuchi Aochi. That's Taketsuchi Aochi. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear in every defense lawyer's heart. Okay. No, the readers won't buy that. What? Witness. Yes? What this court demands to know is whether or not you are responsible for taking this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a journo if I didn't click quick when presented with a scoop like that, now would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. It's what I call my many-memoism. Many-memoism? Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when we were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, right. That was me. Many-memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Ms. Brett's words? Yes, they were in English. A criminal left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen? Oh my gosh! Where are you going to get another pencil? It's behind his ear. It's behind his ear. Case closed. Solved it. The other pencil's behind his ear. It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway. Objection. If you took the pencil from behind your ear, how could there still be a pencil there? Shameful. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here. Right, here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. We're really lost without Faded here to count the pencils. To get the woman's story so I can hammer her in the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph? Oh yes, saw it with my very own journal eyes. From start to finish through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. He just did. You will state exactly what it is you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. Camera never lies. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journal spirit burst into flames quick as a flash. I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. Reed screens, you say? Right. You can see them clearly enough in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. There was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring? No, let's not ignore it. Just as we shouldn't have just glossed over the horrific domestic violence of the people up on the second floor of what's it called? We likewise should not ignore the appalling invasion of sticking a camera into a changing room. Did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing, from start to finish. And you say you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens. Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime. Kinzo would be proud. A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's Many-Memoism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict. No! Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? Oh, that's right. It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. More pathetic excuses. Well then, counsel, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. Very close to his nipples, which are now bruised from all of the snapping.
Hold it!
What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place? Was it boobs? Call it journo instinct. Can you think of a better reason? Oh, I don't know. Perhaps, as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman. I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journo as a voyeur. It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge. Nope. You've got it all wrong, little student boy. Sorry? To my mind, all that was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoop knows no gender. Man or woman, it's all news. That's not even memoism. It's basic journalism. If only the court was as indiscriminate. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? Tell the court then, witness, what sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut? A sight that vindicated my journo instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day.
Hold it!
Sitting on a stool, you say? So, you actually saw Membami-san entering the hut? Yep, and she was raging like my journo spirit. And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly? You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing. Talking about the poison, I suppose. The student girl walked right up to the Englishwoman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she'd laid into it anymore, there would have been eggs. The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. But the student's rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time. Really ought to work on similes first, though, to be honest. Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry. And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film.
Hold it!
Threw her to the floor, you say? Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Ha! The precise moment? I didn't just see that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish. I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you can use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Right you are. It's all here on my memo pad. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on this stool, at the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that. She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted down. My turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. Ugh. Then the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And a flash plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other. You just said she'd throw her to the ground. You said there was a Membami takedown involved, which you describe as a grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what Many-Memoism says. Beach hut plan has been entered into the court record. We didn't have that before. By the way, Many-Memo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through a gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy, rather than capture it on film? Journos have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our raison d'être. So, you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. That's something to be proud of? Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor? I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. Father, what are you doing? You're not a lawyer. I will grant the defense's request. Many-Memo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of Many-Memoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless.
Hold it!
Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that? I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to the breaking point already. Oh, I see. You were scared? Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you, yes. It was all I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hands steady enough to snap the shot. I really should have summoned help before thinking of your camera. Many-Memoism and humanism don't always agree. Most of the time in those instances, Many-Memoism comes out on top. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. Surely he's making all this up. He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't it? If that's how you feel, I suggest you trust your instincts and press him on everything he said. As you've no doubt done many times before in your role as judicial assistant. Yes, I have. Seen witnesses like this pressed often. I know exactly what to do. Not my first video game. So did I not... Yeah, this one and that one I did not
Hold it!
press on. The court is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, I'm sure. But why then did you choose to post the photograph anonymously to the police? I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decided not to make a story out of the incident. Think of me as a sculptor who makes art out of the sordid, private details of others' lives. But I never discuss my own personal life on principle. I mean, that's basic Many-Memoism. It's not something to boast about. No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed and justice done is what motivated you. That's it. That's brilliant. My burning desire to see something or other exposed. There has to be a good reason he didn't think to write an article about what he saw, though. By your own admission, you are outside the hut. How, then, did you manage to take the photograph? Ah, yes, that. Glad you asked.
Hold it!
But the two women inside didn't notice? Ha, obviously not. If they had, where would I be right now? In jail, that's where. Which you'd think would make you reflect on what you were doing. No, a journo's job is to collect little snippets of life as unobtrusively as possible. Leave nothing but footprints, take nothing but photos. Yes, that's spot on. Did you just make that up? The point is, the witness risked life and limb to obtain this photograph. And this photograph reveals the whole truth. There is nothing more to be said. Okay, quick second. I'm gonna grab another drink. Oh, I should examine these things first of all. The label appears to be written in a foreign language that I don't know. It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be of little help here, I'm afraid. Couldn't you have just written medicine on it in Japanese? Then we'd all be able to read it. German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. Kusuri. Can I open it? Apparently not. Pour it all over my face and eyes? Not allowed. Ah yes, this must be the victim's blood. Oh dear. Blood is never a pretty sight, is it? Having to fight the urge to run it under a hot tap and get it clean. You've always been fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you? I think this is something else, Father. No, nothing. Tip is not missing. No. So we haven't established that it's not her pen, but am I supposed to present this here to be like, here's the... See, I'm thrown off by the thing that got me tripped up before, so now I'm like, do I present this now and say, here's the proof, and then they say, explain your proof, and then we give them the explanation? Or is there something else that I can contradict? This seems like the kind of statement that they would say so that you would contradict it, but we don't... This is the only thing that seems to be evidence that he was in the hut, right? Throwing the English on the floor. Sitting on a stool. We don't have... It's not like... There is a stool, right? Yeah, there's a stool.